Hello Pisces, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be taking a look at the month of October here. You can use this either for Sun, Rising, Moon, or Venus, and if you'd like to watch it before the month, that's great, or you can watch it as the month unfolds. We'll get into the Celtic Cross in just a moment. However, I always like to start off with channeled messages, and these come through dreams, meditation, and also through everyday signs and signals that I pick up as I am tuning into your sign. So today there were two primary things that came through. In dreams last night, I saw negotiations, mediation, the ability to reach some sort of an agreement. So we'll talk about that first. And then in everyday life, I kept running into a squirrel as I was walking up and down the streets with my dog. So we're going to talk about that symbol and how it basically connects to the next month. Okay, so let's begin with being the voice of reason. So in my dreams last night, I kept seeing you at a round table, and there was this ability for you to kind of step in, lead, or at least show people some way to reach a resolution. And this doesn't mean that it's not winning versus losing, it's more finding common ground. And of course, temperance would be the key energy that would be associated with that sort of intermediary, or again, sort of like counseling energy, even for some of you. So you may find yourself in a position where you're constantly reminding someone of, why they shouldn't take something so serious, or, giving them context for the bigger picture so that they can basically keep their cool, calm, collected view and get something done. This could also be for you as well, just trying to understand everything in the larger context. Use your already sort of sign-specific energies like empathy and creativity, as well as your intuition, as your tools to basically help in these situations, okay? So you're the voice of reason, you're the calm one, and even if that's not normally your sort of like specialty, if you can find a way to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, and try to bring some order to things, I think it'll be advantageous. Let's move on to the squirrel, which is your animal totem for today. The squirrel represents presence of mind. It's able to see what's available resource-wise and take advantage of that. It drinks in the moment. It actually will take a rest or a break, eat some of its food, and then it also plans for the future. It takes some of its resources and it buries them so that on a rainy, cold winter day, it's able to retrieve that and take care of itself. So we can do a little bit of all of the above. We can water the seeds of today and plant some seeds or store some resources for tomorrow. The only thing you want to be mindful of with this particular totem is not losing focus on goals or how much you have. Because sometimes the squirrel forgets where it buried some of its acorns and nuts, and then those become trees, which is great. But in our own life, this can represent an opportunity that you've been sitting on too long. It's time to plant that, to do something with it, to put your energy into it. So really take a little bit of time to audit and see how much you've done, because the only thing that the squirrel isn't doing is looking at historical or sort of in the past sort of energy. So assess what's been done, see what's here, and figure out when enough is enough. And that's going to give you a really solid footing to make October a fantastic month. I'm going to go to the overhead camera now. We're going to take a look at the cards and specifically see what's coming through. As I said just a moment ago, you can use this for your Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. We already had a volunteer here with the Chariot, which is cool. So let's give the cards a good shuffle and see what they have to say. Lots of cards that want to pop out and volunteer today. Okay, we got two cards there. Interesting. Destiny and Authority. We have a leadership card here with the Emperor, so it'll be interesting to see how all of this comes into play. right, let's get everything set up here, and we're going to begin, of course, as always, with your catalyst energy. You got a dual catalyst, as you saw, destiny on top, the authority beneath it. So for many of you, you're starting to really center in on what's important to you. We look at the sort of culmination, let's just look at one card at a time, of all these different lifetimes, and it feels like many of you have been building up to this for a long time, including not just many lifetimes, but also this lifetime. And we have in the spread in the near future position, the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands can represent a chance to sort of release and let go. As you can see, sometimes we feel a sense of being burdened with the Ten of Wands, like you have to shoulder this all on your own. You don't, by the way, but many of you are just finally at a point where you're like, I've done everything that I need to with this situation. I'm really ready now to move forward. And the tens keep showing up, which are completion, and it reduces to a 1. It's going to open up a new door for you. So this is a month where things fall together in a really nice way. And it's just a question here. Are you ready to receive? She's pointing to her heart space. Do you feel the worth? Do you feel worthy? Do you feel ready? It reminds me of a different deck that has a Wheel of Fortune that has all the different faces on it of all the different experiences. I might pull it up a little bit later, but basically this is a time to embrace what's in front of you right here, right now. So now we have the Authority card, which I would closely connect with the Emperor. You can see it has the same number, and this is a reinterpreted sort of version of that. So here we've got the Emperor coming through as well, and it's saying, don't be afraid to step into that. We also see a nimbus or a halo around his head. It's really focusing on leading by example, focusing on a sort of higher purpose for all of this and trying to bring people back to that. That's what I was seeing at that round table. The discussion was, hey, let's get on the same page. We have a lot that we can do together, and let's make this a collectively, mutually beneficial experience. So leading magnanimously, which is a fancy word for just the good of everyone, really kindly leading them. And I feel like this is going to put you in a great sort of energy right now if you're willing and ready to embrace it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the center of the spread. And it's the one that flew out of the deck, and appropriately enough, it's the Chariot. Just like a wheel. Things are starting to spin, things are starting to move. And the question from this card is, are you ready to start and continue with that movement, maintain the momentum here? So in modern cards, if you were to create the Chariot, it would be like an automobile. So you have to keep your hands on the wheel. But for anybody that is, a seasoned driver, you know that it's important to look at the mirrors, look at the rear view, look at the side mirrors, make sure you know what's going on behind you and in the periphery, kind of like what we were talking about with the squirrel, right? Checking your sort of positioning and making sure that you're not missing something in front of you, and then continuing to get to your destination. But there is the checkpoints, past, periphery, and future, that are necessary for a chariot to move in the direction it needs to. Chariot is also about fighting for what matters. There was often, in history anyway, chariots would be in war. So fighting the good fight, fighting for what matters for you, and being willing to put yourself out there. This is coming through as well. And the two horses require leadership. They need to be both on the same page to pull the chariot in the right position. So lots and lots of leadership energy from the dual Emperor cards that we got to this one, okay? This is good for you, though. It's at the center of the spread. Everything this month really depends on your ability to kind of keep it together, which is why it's important to get the rest that you need and stay cool, calm, and collected. The Four of Swords is about as cool as it gets when it comes to energy. Not too much. Willing to create some space. Willing to walk away. I talk about my dad sometimes because he was a really good business person. He was skilled with negotiation, actually, but in purchasing things. That was actually what he did for a living. So whenever, I definitely miss him now when it comes to buying a car, because one of the negotiation tools that he taught me was, if something isn't working, don't force it. Just walk away. See what else is out there. If that person, especially a salesperson, really needs or wants the sale, they're going to make sure that you don't leave, and you'll be able to strike a better bargain. So my dad was always ready and willing to walk out if something was unreasonable. This is basically also saying to sleep on it. So Six of Swords or the Chariot is saying you've got the upper hand in negotiation and you can walk away if you need to. For any vital and life-altering decision, you should always be able to talk to your spouse or your family, to sleep on it, to do your homework. So in a job offer, usually you can at least get a day to make your decision. Just say, this is a really important decision and I need to just make sure that everything is in alignment, and I'll give you my final answer tomorrow. So things like that, typically there's time and you can create time. And when you have the time, you're going to enter into that contract or that decision feeling so much better, feeling like you really have everything sorted out. All right, as we take a look here at your recent past, it's been a busy month or a busy couple of months for many of you. Some of you may be trying to play a little bit of catch up. There may be things, again, that you had sort of forgotten that you had agreed to do, and it's a lot coming together at once. The good news with the Eight of Wands is you have the ability to get everything done. It's just a matter of not losing focus. And if you need to ask for help, if you need to delegate, we have the management card right here. So this is one where you absolutely can and should step back a little bit. And if you have the benefit of a helper, a team, or a partner in your life, this card is reminding you to lean on that and really step into the authority role, okay? And focus on the destiny, not sort of like the distractions, okay? The Four of Swords, by the way, is also connecting to this, saying that it's important for you to get enough rest. So this represents sleep. It's also a healing card. So when you've been through something difficult, like the Three of Swords, time heals things and it gives you a chance to see the world in a different light. So getting rest, stepping back, making sure that you're not only prioritizing work, that's going to be essential to just general happiness and productivity, okay? And as we look now at your recent past, we have the Moon in reverse. This particular card is a reminder to deal with things in real time. So if somebody is doing something inappropriate, if you're nervous or unsure about something and you need clarification, this card is really underlining the importance of raising your hand and asking the question while it's happening, rather than trying to fix it or address it several weeks, months, or years later. So always deal with it now, even if it's a difficult conversation. This also is a reminder not to get caught up in gossip, to make sure that, again, if there's anything that isn't being addressed, maybe you call the meeting or you call things to attention to make sure that there's a solution and that things are getting resolved. All right, let's move on to your crowning position here. We have the Five of Cups. This is a chance for you to look at things from a different perspective. In the foreground here, we actually see the Two Cups upright. This can represent partnership, new opportunities, things getting better or easier. In the past, though, we can see the things that didn't quite go as planned. The Three Cups that are overturned or spilled. And basically there's a chance here to mourn what needs to be mourned and say, that upset me, that was disappointing, it didn't work the way I wanted to. What can I do now? What can I learn from that so that it doesn't happen again? And also, kind of like the squirrel, if I focus my attention too much there, then I miss this or I forget about this. So this is about turning around and looking at something with a new sort of found context and an open heart. And you're going to then be able to see something maybe that you hadn't been able to see before. When it comes to grief, though, it's really important not to ignore your emotions. And there just comes a point for those of you that have lost someone or have gone through something difficult where you make a decision and you say, okay, I did that. I felt that. I let go of everything I needed to. Now it's time to pick up those cups and explore what else the world has to offer. Not only for myself, but for the memory of what was, particularly if it was a loved one. You carry on in their honor, right? And create a new legacy. And this is true, again, even of symbolic separations, losses, or things. So when you go from one stage of life to another, graduate and go to from college and you're in the working force, or vice versa when you're retiring, or when you get married. I talk about these sort of, they're like pivots in your life. It's a moment where you say, you bid adieu and farewell to the old you, and you embrace the new path in front of you, okay? So take time to address the emotions, but don't miss out on the Two Cups that are right there, ready to open up some good stuff, okay? To that end, let's see what's coming here. We have 2 cards in the future, the Ten of Wands and the Knight of Wands. The Ten of Wands is reversed, so it is about just letting go, knowing when enough is enough. For those of you with perfectionist tendencies, as the card falls, the Ten of Wands in and of itself is basically saying let go, just like I did right there, that spirit speaking in real time. It's hard sometimes when you've put a lot of energy into a certain path to imagine what's beyond that, right? Even when it's something that you really want to get through, it's sort of like, but that's been my primary focus for a certain amount of time. So this is reminding you that, yeah, this will be something that you're releasing, but something better is waiting. So here's your context, and here's the difficulty for some of you is just realizing, I did it. Now what? That's a good problem to have, the now what, because it means that you get to dream again. You get to imagine some new things, okay? These are all weaving together really nicely today because what I just addressed is right here. This is simply allowing yourself to go down a path that you haven't explored, and it's the path less traveled for some of you. There may not be an obvious next step after something has been completed, and that's okay. Sometimes we find ourselves at a place where you think, I need something more, I want something more, I know I can do something beyond this, but I don't know what it is yet. That gives you the freedom to kind of draw on a blank slate or a blank page. And for any of you that enjoyed coloring books, for instance, when you were a kid, it's a big deal to move away from coloring books or paint by numbers and then just have a canvas where it's you. It's your imagination, your hand, and the paintbrush or the pen. So this is a moment where you can kind of do it, and no matter what you put on the paper, no matter what your heart and head tells you to do, it's okay. Just kind of explore. And if you need to get inspired, talk to some other people. Know this, however, and I found the card because I wanted to show how very similar these are. So we have this Destiny card, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune that shows you kind of going through all of it. Don't get in your headspace too much. So sometimes we stress about, can I do it? Well, what's next? Can I repeat success? Because the Wheel of Fortune is a different version of success. Yes, you've been through all of that. You've got what it takes. You're really embracing that upper card here of success, and we see the crown chakra and the star right above it. So that's where your energy should be. Very different decks, very similar illustration. And I wanted to bring this one up because it just so nicely sums up the pressure we put on ourselves as we go through something. So don't go there. Just enjoy. Be kind of like the squirrel totem today. Be present, plan for the future. Don't worry too much about all the steps in between, or if you'll even accomplish it. It's just worth taking the first step. Temperance, which was featured in the channel messages, is also helpful here. One step at a time, 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water. You don't have to dive in head first, okay? If there's anything right now that you do not understand, especially when signing a contract or agreeing to something, or if someone's trying to ignore you or an obligation, this is about speaking up, asking questions, not letting that kind of go unchecked, okay? We'll talk more about this when it comes to health too, because it is about making sure that you get second opinions and all of that. But I want to now focus on environment, hopes and fears, and outcome. In the environment, we have someone trying to get you to agree with them. A Page of Wands in reverse. They're not listening. They have a very clear idea of what is right and wrong, and they might be missing something really big because of that closed-mindedness. A page can be any age person. It's just a communicator that is not listening, not looking. And so your challenge will be either in changing the delivery of the message, going from nonverbal to verbal or vice versa, getting a different person to come in, or changing up the environment a little bit. This could also be about you pushing back, showing that you're just as strong because this person has a way of, putting their foot down and not relenting. Well, guess what? You came through as one of the ultimate boss cards, the Emperor, and he's in the upright position. He represents wisdom, and wisdom not just of this lifetime, but many lifetimes. And maybe the collective wisdom of your family, your friends, your training, all of that. It's all coming together. And we see you rising above. Literally, it's the one above this one, and it's the Knight of Wands. This is doing the right thing, whether or not it's popular. This is meeting someone halfway. Knights are constantly moving. And this is, again, a more active and a little bit better sort of version of the page card that's reversed there. They're going to be able to show a different way to do it. And I think that's part of this. There may even be, my guides are kind of making this statement where it's almost like just do it first and you can always explain it later. And that's not always the best thing to do in business, but in your life, it might be more for those of you that need to do a pivot. Just go ahead and show that it can be done. There'll be plenty of time later to explain it to the people that don't understand, but there's also like a pivotal window of time right now that we want to make sure you don't miss. So you don't actually owe everyone in your life an explanation over things. So when it's time, it's time. And that's why the Knight is your outcome. He's saying, let's move it forward. Let's fight for what we need to fight for. And let's move on that. And again, the cards have been flipping all over the table today. I've had a hard time holding on to them. I definitely feel the energy of movement and, interestingly enough, letting go. Okay, let's transition into the extended forecast to get a little bit more clarity on all the different facets of your life. This gives me a chance to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the card of health, which is mind, body, and spirit. Let's go ahead and focus on the energy of health. And it's about taking that step, being the bridge. Expand your consciousness to behold both worlds. Well, some of you are just going to do more in the realm of spiritual development. And maybe you're deciding to practice yoga, increase your meditation, maybe even just be more creative and channel all of the ideas that are coming through. This also represents moving beyond something. So you could just simply be deciding to not burn the bridge, but you still have to cross the bridge and move on to something that's yours and yours alone. Sometimes that's walking away from someone who doesn't understand. But the bridge is still there. And of course, for those of you that are natural mediums, this is mediumship, and you're connecting more with your guides, with spirit, possibly with loved ones. And again, it's an encouragement to expand consciousness and focus on that. We are entering into a period of time, specifically for the month that this is intended, October to November, where there's a liminal, an in-between space that naturally occurs right around Halloween, right around Samhain and Day of the Dead and all of that. So there's this beautiful opening at the end of October anyway. And if there's anything that needs to launch or be released, or if there's anything that you want to announce or be more open to, perfect timing, okay? Let's now focus on what this means from a health perspective. So this was just a general card that has to do with all aspects of your life, and it was much bigger than just your body. But now let's focus on your body. Sleep and rest coming through right at the center. Make sure that you are completely rested and you're getting quality and quantity, particularly for those of you that operate machinery, do a lot of driving, or are being asked to take on a lot. Because in order to steer your figurative or real ship, you have to be rested, okay? So that's number one. If you do a lot of heavy lifting, or if you are feeling emotionally burdened and you're lifting a lot of heavy emotions, this is a time to make sure that you're not taking on so much that it's exhausting you or burning you out. This could also be feeding into the insomnia. The schedule's pretty busy. I would advise doing less, but doing it better. So prioritize, delegate, and simply say no to things that don't make sense. Emotions are running really high. Talk to a counselor, a friend, or a loved one if you need to. This card can represent trying to sweep something under the rug. If you're noticing something in your mind, body, or spirit and it isn't the way you want it to be, now is the time to deal with it. This is also simply saying get your eyes or ears checked, because this is a card that can show issues with those, because the blindfold goes around both. Otherwise, things are pretty good. This is also a card that is showing the possibility for longevity if you take care of yourself. This is in hopes, fears, and opportunities. You're not repeating history of your family if you take care of yourself right here, right now. One last thing with health, this can also deal with getting enough water in your system, so making sure that you're properly hydrated. For both men and women, it can be reproductive in nature, so making sure if there's anything that's not working in that part of your body, that you're seeking help and attention there, okay? Otherwise, the cards are pretty good and pretty manageable. Most of these are proactive health notes. And the bridge card is about being able to move beyond something, to rise above. So if there has been any health challenges, this is auspicious. All right, let's now transition from your health message to wealth. and we have Heaven Sent, another card which is really kind of out there and liminal. We see the third eye and the crown chakra just lighting up with this. Creativity, folks. This is also like High Priestess energy coming through loud and clear. And because you are water, you're really needing to feel it this month. If you don't feel connected in love, in work, in life in general, then you're going to have to try to find that connection sooner than later, is what this card is saying. Also, this is showing that you are manifesting. So if there's something that you've been trying to do as far as like your life purpose or your career, or just generally to make a difference, Heaven Sent, and then this bridge card that was connected to the other side is saying you're pulling it into existence. From your head, from your heart, from the other side into something that's actually tangible, into reality. All right, now let's look at the cards here. These are very important when it comes to your work and your career. Authority and destiny, things are aligning. Are you doing what you set out to do? If not, what are you going to do this month to make that happen? Don't worry so much about success or failure because you're ready right now. Things are poised in the right direction. Multiple leadership cards, a confirmation of destiny and source, and all these sort of like connections to spirit, which I quite like. This is time for people to see the wisdom you have. So just because we see someone that's older here, that doesn't mean that wisdom is only for people who are, who've lived many, many years on the planet. There are also people that just walk in and they're a natural sort of phenom and they have exactly what it takes. So you may be an old soul in a young body. You may just be starting to really feel your power, your strength, and your potential. And this is the month where that's the perfect time. It's auspicious for this. I think that when we're looking at those of you, I like to break it down into three sets here because it helps. If you're starting out or if you are restarting, so this could be at any stage of your life, this beginning or new beginning has a couple of notes. The first thing is whatever you set your mind out to do, you can and you will do. The only challenge right now is your own limitations, your own fears. So let's try to move beyond that. I don't see pentacles here. So that roundtable discussion could indicate a need to discuss resources. It seems like some people don't want to talk about that. They just want it done. So you're going to be the voice of reason there because there's no money cards. Hopefully we'll get some when we look at sun, rising, and moon, but right now I'm not seeing them. Okay, so talk about it. Let's not sweep that under the rug. Don't do something just for money if you're starting out or restarting. The main thing here is some of you've been working to a point of exhaustion, whether it's school or actual work. So take a little bit of a break, get some perspective, and follow your heart, follow the passion here, and make sure that you like what you're doing, okay? And remember what I said, some of you just need to show that it's possible, and later people will say, I always had faith in you, even if they didn't. So show that the impossible is possible. Step up into that role of authority and follow your destiny, okay? If you're mid-career, already working, in other words, it's time to finish something or let go of something. It's time to focus on other things. Your mind really needs to be engaged. It can't just be the title, the money, the prestige. There has to also be this sense of connection, as we talked about here. And I feel like this is a month for moving up or moving out. That's all the 10 of Wands really wants to do. So you're either going to graduate onto the next level and get the appropriate title and recognition, or you're going to move on somewhere where you are appreciated. Have the discussion this month. Remember, I saw that round table. Some people simply may not know what you're interested in. Hold them to account. Make sure that it gets written down. And you have a really good chance of accomplishing it because we have 2 power cards that came through. If you're retired or about to retire, we see traveling, moving, or kind of downsizing as a part of this, which makes a lot of sense. Focusing more on what brings joy, focusing more on relationships. And that's basically what I'm picking up here. And then just the ability to reimagine, like life beyond what you used to be doing, that there is something more, that you can build this bridge to something new. So you just have to step out and explore a little bit. All right, as we take a look here at the energy of love, we have the bee coming through with a message of community. The card was reversed, so let's just read these and see where the resistance might be for some of you. So the first may simply be in finding a community, finding a group that appreciates and embraces you for you. The next, we're going to read them sentence by sentence. You're a powerful creator. So for some of you, it's just about stepping into power and authority, okay? And so this can be something that isn't natural for all of us, but it is there, and it is something karmically. And even when we're looking at the second of the catalyst cards, when it comes to your destiny, that seems to want to be front and center in this moment, okay? The next one says, your work blesses everything that you touch. So this is really you understanding your worth. And I noticed as we looked at the cards today that we're not seeing any pentacles. So there absolutely is an opportunity to speak up and to underline anything where you're seeing a lack. Be open to receiving sweetness. When someone says you're amazing or gives you a gift of love, of money, of opportunity, you say, thanks, I've been working really hard to create that. And you're the queen of abundance. Moving away from a place where you're in a sort of limited imagination. And that's really it. We're not so much seeing a fear of abundance as maybe a lack of imagination of what's possible. So open your heart and your head up to all the possibilities, and don't be afraid to talk about money or resources or long-term goals. That's going to help you out. Let's take the focus now and look at those in a relationship, looking for love, or single and happy, beginning with those that are already in a relationship. So if you're in a loving relationship, I see evenly met energy here. An authority card, and then, like I said, the main boss card here with the Emperor. The challenge here is actually in communication in general, because we have a card here that's lacking communication, and we have two people here that are going in different directions. So making sure that there are no surprises, making sure that you're telling each other what's going on, and maybe just spending a little bit more time catching up on what's most important. Acknowledgement also of the work that each other is doing for the betterment of the relationship. Just saying, I really appreciated when you did this, or it was so nice to be able to, just have dinner or have breakfast with you today. That sort of is going to go so far in bridging some of the gap here that might be existing, just because there's a lot going on. One or both of you is very focused on work. It looks like it's almost like working and sleeping and not a lot of time for communicating. So in this case, we want to pump the brakes a little bit on the Chariot and focus less on all this other stuff and focus on the love that is coming through here, okay? So a little bit more communication, a little bit more together time, a little bit more appreciation and thank you. Now, some of you may also be getting used to being together. This is moving in or moving out. So if you are getting used to cohabitating, I totally understand that that's an adjustment period. Again, communicating what works and what doesn't is going to be key here. There is a card here where for some of you, something came up and it feels like there could have been a little bit more openness, a little bit more honesty. Without this, it's really hard to build a long-term relationship. So being transparent, being the first to discuss something if you need to, making sure that it comes from you and not from someone else is really important here. The good news overall is we see cards of success here. There just are some big energies coming through, big egos for some of you, and remembering not to be pushy or to be pushed in a direction that doesn't feel right for you. That's going to be key. It feels like everything can be worked out, but there is a lot of desire to be right, or there's again, a power struggle for some of you that's coming up. So being the voice of reason, as we talked about at the very beginning, that really resonates with just pre-existing relationships. And seeing this as a team. You are a team. We have the community card here, okay? And in a hive, there's only one queen bee, but in a really great relationship, there can be two leaders doing this together, okay? That's the difference here. If you're looking for love this month, travel is one way to meet people. And I do feel like there might be someone already in the periphery here. We see someone that doesn't quite meet expectations. This is wisdom, but this is a really young person. There could be someone that is wise beyond their years. There could be a little bit of an age gap in the relationship. You may also be both of you at the same age, but one acts or thinks a lot sort of younger or more out of the box. And this can be fun. This can be engaging. I think that the important thing for you right now is if there's anything emotionally that you need to decompress, this is the time to do it before you step into a relationship. If you need to complete or deal with some sort of work or personal task, let's get that done first as well. Make sure that you're not burned out. All of these things are going to help you so that when love comes knocking, you're ready. Lots of fire energy coming through here, so you definitely could be connecting with the fire sign. Whomever is coming through could be coming in a completely unexpected place, so live your life as normal. I think that this is not someone that you have to try to be set up with or try to meet in an inorganic way. This should be very natural. So by focusing on getting your life sorted out, this person naturally comes through. Fire sign energy, old soul, a sort of something where it contrasts, where you didn't think that that person, their personality doesn't necessarily match the exterior, but in a sort of inviting and unusual way that kind of takes you off your guard. Okay? For those of you that are happily single, this is a great time for travel. You're going to get a lot done, super productive time, lots of creative energy coming through as well, a great chance to step into leadership positions. Be open to surprises. There still may be love and partnership on the horizon if you're open to it. The only thing that cuts off anything this month with respect to health, wealth, love, or destiny is not wanting to see it or not recognizing it when it comes across your path. So keep that openness of mind and heart. It will serve you well. Looking at your destiny card, we have movement here. So it says move your body. In particular, the card is reversed. So some of you might be in a place where you're stagnating a little bit with your physical activity, with just thoughts, energy, and projects. And there's basically a prayer or mantra of gratitude. Thank you, angels, for motivating me to move my body and energy. Once you start moving, it is almost a self-perpetuating thing, like the chariot here. When the wheels start moving, you start moving. It's all good. So this is about taking the first step this month, not about achieving perfection, just about moving the chariot in the right position, okay? And step by step, things will look better. One thing that I've been doing is slowly kind of getting some new things for this apartment because I waited a long time because I just wanted to make sure. I moved a lot last year. So there were some boxes and things that I needed to get rid of, and a friend of mine reminded me, he's like, one box at a time, get rid of them. And it only took me a week to get rid of some stuff that I needed to just send to recycling or just part ways with. And he was right. One thing each day, just take it out of the house. And before you know it, you've got space. Same thing when you're trying to build something or you're trying to create momentum. One step at a time, one day at a time. You look over your shoulder a month later and it's like, wow, look at how much progress I made. Okay? Don't overwhelm yourself. All right, let's move on to the sun, rising, and moon messages, and we'll see what the universe has to say about each. Sun, rising, and moon. All right. So for the sun sign, this is a chance for you to see things as they truly are. The opposite of the Eight of Swords upright, which is sometimes being blind to something, being cut off, not being seen, is actually breaking through, seeing, understanding, finding illumination, finding knowledge. All of those things are going to help you this month too. Research, ask questions, be willing to lift up the figurative rock and see what's beneath it. And the openness of your heart and mind also opens you up to new things, okay? So this is, if I were to sum it up, a month of big reveals. It's a month to let things go and to see things as they truly are. Also, to move beyond that there has to be this binary right or wrong. There are different ways, different paths, different opportunities availing themselves to you. So stay open, and when you see something, really embrace it, trust it, and keep on moving, okay? Moving from the sun to rising. Don't second guess your intuition. Allow your creativity to flow. Lean into intuitive development this month. And when you see someone in your life and it feels like that person may not be showing or telling you everything, trust that gut instinct as well, because The moon card can represent someone who's trying to do things behind the scenes or trying to get away with something, much as Seven of Swords can. But the High Priestess sees that. She's totally capable of seeing it and moving beyond it. She's also very clear on what's possible. And you can manifest your hopes. You can also manifest your fears. So let's manifest your hopes, your dreams, the opportunities that you really want to open up. This is a month to make them happen, okay? Don't limit yourself. And now let's move on to your moon sign. We have the World, the final card in the major arcana, and a really nice complement to the Ten of Wands. This is completion. This is expansion. And there is a difference between that. Completion just means you finish something. Expanding is moving beyond, is taking something and amplifying it, sharing it. This can be broadcasting. This can be distribution. This can be acclaim, other people noticing you. This can be moving. And this is one of the best cards you can pull in the entire deck. So big, pivotal, positive changes that are coming through with this for Moon. That's the message. All right, let's move on to the final question and final card. Here's how this works on my channel. So I've done my best today to basically walk you through all of the stuff that's availing itself to you, but there's always one thing that's unique to your own path. I'd like you to focus on a question that I've yet to answer. Just meditate on it and let's see what the universe has to say. We have one card that already popped out of the deck here, the King of Cups. Let's just take him in the upright position. And let me pull one more and see how these two work together. All right. So for the final card, the universe had this to say: follow your heart. Be open. Be open to receiving. He's the ultimate receiving energy that I can pull in this suit. Have some fun. Prioritize love, relationships, and joy in general. And that's a great message. Many of you have been working really, really hard, and guess what? You're nobody's fool. You're going to do what you set out to do. Nine of Wands is a card that is able to bounce back. Usually you see the person a little bit battered and bruised, but they're not bothered by that. They understand that they're still going to finish things and that it's going to be a-okay. So whatever challenges you have been sort of experiencing, joy is on the horizon if you're ready and willing to receive it. There's a couple more steps that are necessary first, but we saw in the near future that you're very close. It's going to happen this month. And we saw that for many of you, you're going to go way beyond what you expect is possible, okay? And again, we got destiny and authority here in the catalyst. So this is a good month overall. As a yes, this is yes, but follow your heart. And this is an encouragement not to give up, all right? That, my friends, is everything for this month, and what a beautiful reading. I always enjoy reading for Pisces because I feel like my third eye is wide open by the time I get to your reading, so thank you for always being patient in the order in which I read here. So if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you're brand new. That way you'll never miss out on a future video. You can also click the bell icon to make sure that you opt into all notifications. Everybody, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, it helps others find this channel. It also lets me know that you like this content. You can follow me on social media for additional reminders, news, and updates. It's always my full name. I don't have second accounts, by the way. Anything with numbers or extra letters, it isn't me, folks. And actually, just a quick note on that. If anyone offers you a private reading or asks for money or says, hey, I've been very drawn to you, and they start a conversation, that's not me. Block, report, let me know as well. You can leave it in one of the comments below. I've gotten 2 taken off of TikTok. There's one more. Just be smart about that. You can always go directly to my website, which is linked below the video, and make sure that you're looking at the right profile. If you would like to show support, it's always optional. It does help, but it is optional. You can do that through super stickers, super chats, and super thanks. There's a little heart with the word thanks, and you can leave a comment and it'll be highlighted and I'll give you a heart for that. Again, optional, and it does help, however, so thank you in advance. My posting schedule is Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I do live streams every Sunday, so if you want to interact in real time, show up on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, and we can chat there with everyone else. I also do 1 card daily readings, so you can see that on the Shorts tab on my main channel page. And that, my friends, is everything for today. Sending you lots of love and light, and just a lot of gratitude too. Thanks for showing up here. You have a lot of choices on YouTube. It's been my honor and pleasure to spend the last 45 minutes or so with you. Until I see you again, take care. Bye-bye.